Hello and welcome back to Handmade by Hannah with me, Hannah. Here we go with our mystery blanket. It's such a mystery, even I don't know what it's going to be. But the first square we're going to make is the one you can see now. It's quite an easy one. I've tried to make this as complete beginner as I can. So we'll just get straight onto it, shall we? So as you can see, I've got 5 different colours here, and they are all a chunky wool. So I thought if I did a chunky wool, you'd all be able to see it easier. So you can pick any type of wool you like, as long as your crochet hook matches the weight of your yarn. I'm going to be using a 5mm, and you'll need a darning needle and some scissors. And some patience if you've never crocheted before. Okay, I'm just going to move some of these balls out of my way, like so. And you can see now, because of the nature of the stitch, it will curl up at the ends like that. But once you start joining them together, that will sort itself out. So the first part we're going to make is this little centre granny square first. Okay, so we're going to start in the middle and then work our way out. So we're going to start with this bit first. You get your white wool, or whatever colour that you've chosen. And you always start with a slip stitch first. So you just make a loop, bring your wool underneath, put your hook in underneath like so, and then just pull it through, and that's your first slip knot. And then we're going to work in a round in this one, so we're going to do 6 chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then we're going to join these 6 chain into a little circle. So we're going to go back to our first one. Now I count my chains, so there's each little V's here, which is your chain stitch. So you want to join it into the first one here using a slip stitch. So you put it in, put your yarn round, and then pull it through. And there we've joined and got a nice little circle. Okay, so the next part is we're going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, 3, and that is classed as our first stitch. Our first stitch there. So we're going to do a treble, 2 trebles after this one. Now hold your tail underneath, and we're going to go right inside the circle here, and we're going to work over our tail to save us having to sew in the ends. So we're doing a treble. So yarn round hook into the circle and over your tail, yarn round hook again, pull through the first 2, yarn round hook again and pull through the next 2. And there you've done your first little group of 3 trebles inside your circle. So we're going to do 3 chain again, but this doesn't class as your stitch, this is your corner to take you round the corner. So you do 3 chain for your corner, yarn round hook, put your yarn in the middle of the circle and round your tail, and work round your tail all the way around, yarn round through them 2, yarn round hook in the center of your circle, yarn round hook through the first 2, yarn round hook through the next 2, yarn round hook in the circle, yarn round hook through those 2, yarn round your hook through the next 2. So that's the start of our little square. So now you're back to doing the corner again. So you need 3 chains to go around the corner, and then yarn around your hook. You're going to do another set of 3 trebles, So you'll be a master at trebles at the end of this little square. There we go, and then there's 3 more chain again for the next corner, and 3 more trebles into the circle, working over your tail. Like so. And then we have to do 1 more corner here, so we do 3 more chains like so, and then we join into the top of your first 3 chain that you started with. So to count your chains, you've got 1 little V there, so that's 1, 2, and you join into the top of this one with a slip stitch like so. And there you have your first little bit. So when I'm using lots of different colours, I like to sew my ends in as I go. So we've finished with the white now. You get your darning needle, and to make, I mean, that looks a bit messy there, it doesn't look like a very nice join. So what I do is I sew it in by going into the 2 loops there and pull it so that it looks the same as the rest. Go through the centre of that one there, and then pull it there, and then you just pull it until it looks the same as all the rest, and that looks much neater. And then you just sew this end in. Just want to sew that in a bit better, because you don't want it coming undone when you've made your blanket and you may need to wash it. You don't want all your ends coming out. Give the centre one a bit of a pull and make sure that it all looks even, and then we just trim these 2 bits off. And so I like to sew my ends in as I go so that I don't have them all to do at the end. And there you have your first little section. Okay, our next colour is this one, which is like a lighter blue. So I'm using wool from my endless amounts of stash I have. You can use anything to make this blanket, as long as the weight of the wool is the same, because each square you make, you want it to come out the right size, so that when you join them together, they join together nicely. So we're going to start the next round by putting your hook not in one of these chains, but in the chain space. So when a pattern says in the chain space, that's what it means, in there. If you were going to put it into the chain, it would be there. But we're not doing that, we're going to go in the chain space. So we're going to do it like, put it in the chain space. Okay, so the next part, you're going to slip stitch it into the chain. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And that's classed as our number 1. This will be number 2. This will be number 3. And then we're going to do 3 chain for the corner again. And then the next one you're going to do in the same chain space, making sure you go over your tail. So you're going to be going over into the same space to make the next corner. Whoops. So we're going to go 1 and 2. Yarn round hook through the first 2, yarn round hook through the next 2, like so. And there you've now made a corner. Then to get to the next corner, we're going to do 1 chain. Then we're going to do exactly the same that we did there in each corner. Now I'm not going to take my tail across there, because it won't look nice, and you'll see the strand. So I'm going to drop my tail now and then go into the next corner space. and do that again. 1 and 2 and 3, and then 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, then yarn round hook into the same chain space that you were just working in, yarn round hook through 2, yarn round hook through the next 2, and yarn round hook through those 2 and them 2. So you're going to do this in these next 2 chain spaces, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so you've done your 3 treble, your 3 chain, your 3 treble, 1 chain, 3 trebles, 3 chain, 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles, 3 chains, 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles, 3 chains, and then 3 more trebles. So you put 1 more chain and then join to the top of your first 3 chain that you made in the beginning. So 1 more chain, find your 3 here, so that's 1, 1, 2, and then the top of this one, and then do a slip stitch to join, like so. Now we've finished with that colour, so we're going to cut that off there. And then I'll show you again how I finish off my wool. So as you can see, it looks a bit dodgy there. You can see that looks quite dodgy there. So I've pulled my thread out. I don't do it in this one, I do it in the next complete one. So go under first 2 and pull it across, and then bring it back to the front again, and then just go through the middle of that one, like so. And then you fiddle about with it to get it to look the same as the other stitches, and there you have it. I mean, joins, you know, no matter how clever you try and hide them, it's still a join. And then you just sew this in, try not to pull it too tight, and you don't need to sew this one in because you've already worked over it. And then we cut those 2 off. Okie dokie, so that's the next part of your little granny square. Okay, so my next colour is this one. And then we're just going to join it like the same as what we did here. So I'll take you around 2 sides, and then I'll leave you to work the other 2 sides. So you're going to go in the chain space, which any pattern that you read will say in the chain space, which means in there. It doesn't mean in here. So you go in the chain space, join again with a slip stitch, then you guessed it, 3 more chains, yarn round. So we're going to start this off as we started the previous round. That's 1, 2, 3. So that classed as your first stitch, then 2 more trebles, then 1, 2, 3 more chains to make your corner. Then you can do another 3 trebles working over your tail again in the same chain space. So I'm going to try and use the language that you would find in patterns. So then whenever you come across a pattern or you start reading patterns, you'll know when it says work in chain space, you'll then know where to place your stitches. So when I learned to crochet, I always found that the placement, I knew how to do the stitch, it was the placement of it that I struggled with in the beginning. So I'm going to drop my tail because I don't want to carry it across there because it will look untidy. And then, as we did before, we're going to do 1 chain, and then we're going to do 1 set of trebles in this chain space. So that's 1 and 2 and 3, and then we're going to do 1 chain to go over this 3, and then we're going to do this corner in the corner space again. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then 3 more chains for the corner, and then in the same chain space 1, 2 and 3. Now this is just your plain granny square we're doing here, and then we're going to 1 chain, put another 3 trebles in here, 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 chain again, whoops, and then you're just going to do this section, you're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the slip stitch again. Okay then, have fun. Welcome back. So I've been all the way around, done all my corners and my chain spaces, and I'm going to count 3, 1, 2, and then do my slip stitch in the top of my chain. And we finished with this colour for now, so take this off and sew it in with my little trick. And then just sew it in through the back and through to meet your other one, like so, and cut them 2 off. I do have a thing about the back of my work looking just as neat as the front of my work, and also you don't want any loose bits going here, because when you're using your blanket they can get that, you can catch them. So that's the next little bit. Okie dokie. Next colour. And we're just going to do exactly the same as we did on this round. Obviously we're going to put 2 more sets of 3 trebles in these chain spaces. So I'll take you around one edge to the corner, and then I'll leave you to go off and finish your square. But don't cut the yarn. We're not going to cut the yarn off at this end because there's another row that we need to do with this colour. So we're not cutting the yarn off with this one. So we slip stitched into the chain space, 3 chain, 2 more trebles going. Remember to crochet over your tail so you haven't got to sew that one in later. 3 chain, 2 more trebles, 3 more trebles, I'm sorry. 1, 2 and 3. And then you're just going to 1 chain over the top of these 3 trebles, do 3 trebles in the chain space, 1, 2 and 3, 1 more chain in the next chain space, 1, 2, 3 is the magic number this time. And then we're going to do 1 more chain space, and then we're going to do the 2 sets of 3 trebles with the 3 chain to make your corner again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 3 more chains, 3 more trebles in the same space, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so you're going to do this section here, you're going to do that around your other 3 sides, and I'll meet you back here, but we're not going to cut our yarn because we're going to do another row, which I will show you how to do at the end. Okay, so you carry off, go and finish up to the slip stitch again, and I'll meet you back here and we will do the final row of our little granny square. Okay then, see you soon. Okay, and here we are back at the back all the way around. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the chain. It can be a bit tricky, this bit. There. Try not to split you all. Okay, now we're going to carry on with this colour. So we're going to do 1 chain space. Now with the previous rounds are 3 chain classed as a stitch, but this 1 chain doesn't. So we've done 1 chain and then we're going to double crochet back into the same chain. So I'm going to go back into the same little space where we just did the 1 chain from, and we're going to do a double crochet like so, and then we're going to double crochet into both loops of the next chain, like so, and then we're going to double crochet into the next chain, and then in the corners we're going to do 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain once, and I'm going to do 2 more double crochets in the same space, 1, 2, so that gives us the corner again. So 2 double crochets, 1 chain and 2 double crochets, and we're going to do this all the way around. So I'll take you round to the next corner and show you. So we're going to go in both loops and into the top of all the trebles, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go do 1 double crochet into this chain space like so, and then into the next 3. So you put your hook in both loops, yarn round hook, yarn round and through the next 2, and we're just going to do that into there, another double crochet into there, and then 3 more into each one top of these stitches, and then one in the chain space, and 1 in the next top of the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then we've got to do our corner like we did here. So we're going to go into the chain space and do 1, 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to do this same thing all the way around this square. Okay, so we did 1 chain and we double crocheted in the same space, then we did 2 more double crochets into the top of them 2 stitches, 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets into the corner, Then we did 1 double crochet in the top of these 3, then 1 in the 1 chain space, top of these 3 in the chain space, top of these 3 in the chain space, top of these 3, and then we did the same in the corner as we did here. So 2 double crochets, 1 chain and 2 double crochets. And yep, you guessed it, we're going to do that all the way on every single side until we get to here. So you go off and do that, and then I will show you what we're going to do next. Okay then, see you soon. Okay, so you've double crocheted all the way round, and you're going to join with a slip stitch. But we did 1 chain in the previous round, but we're not going to join it in there, we're going to join it into there, and we'll go underneath both loops and join with a slip stitch again, like so. And we are going to cut it off this time because we've finished with this bit. So I'm going to sew this bit in. Missing this one, I'm going to go into that one. Like so. And sew it in. Try and do it quickly. Cut them 2 bits off. And there you have the first part of this square. So this is your standard granny square. No frills, no balloons or whistles, just your plain granny square. You can carry on doing this, and you can do it, carry on doing it all the way round, and you just keep doing it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until as big as you want it. But for these purposes, we're going to make a square. So we're now going to do something slightly different. We're now only going to work on 2 sides here, just on this side and this side. So I'm going to get my next colour, which is this nice bluey green. So we're going to join this, and on this row we're only going to work into the back of the loops. So this was your 1, 2, 3 double crochets in the top of them 3, and then you've got, that's 1 double crochet, that's 2 double crochet, and your 1 chain space, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So we want to do, we're only going to go into the back loop though in this round. So we're going to go into the back loop of that 1 chain, of that chain, in the 1 chain space. I'm going to join our another colour in. We're going to do 1 chain, but that doesn't class as a stitch this time, and then we're just going to do 1 double crochet into the, only into the back loop of each of the previous double crochets. So that's why we did a round of double crochets, because it just finishes your square off, but it also gives you a good base to do your next row. So there's 2 loops at the top of the stitch. We're only going to work into the back loop, like so. So in the back loop, double crochet, only in the back loop. We're just going to do that for this round, working in the back loop like so. So back loop. Yeah, so I'm still not quite sure what my next square is going to be. I need to go away and have a look, see what wool I have, etc. But it will be quite interesting, I'm sure. But this is quite a very beginner tutorial blanket. So if you've never ever picked up a crochet hook before and you've always wanted to, I've tried to make this as beginner as I can. and I do like to over explain everything. So that's 3 there. So you've done a double crochet into the top of these 3. Now, I always found this is where, when I learnt to crochet, how I found it difficult where to put my next stitch. So I've got my 3, I've done my 3 on the top of these stitches. So now I should have 2 double crochets, a chain space, and 2 double crochets. It's not always obvious where they are, so that's why I used to get in a right muddle. So that's 1 double crochet in the corner, that's the next double crochet in the corner, and then this is our 1 chain space. So this time in this 1 chain space we're going to work only in the back loop. We're going to do 3 double crochets all in that same loop. 1, 2 and 3 to get us round the, so it gets us round the corner here. So you've done your 3 in there, and don't forget that there is a chain space here, because you could easily quite miss that one, this one here, if you can see that. There's a little chain space there and there. So you need to pull that back. It's a bit more tricky when you're just working in the back of the loop, but don't forget this stitch because it will make your square squiffy, and nobody wants a squiffy square. So you work not into both loops, just into the back loop of that one, because that's your first double crochet in that corner. Then this is your next double crochet in that corner, like so. And then you just do double crochets all into the back loops of the next ones. So I'll do a bit of speed crocheting, because you should hopefully by now got the hang of a double crochet now. One of the first basic stitches I learnt, like so. I'll just quickly, we'll go along the top of this one. And there. And there. And there. 1, 2, 3. So we're on the top of these 3 here. So we've got 1 double crochet there in the corner, another double crochet there in the corner, and then this is our 1 chain space. So you just want to do 1 double crochet in the back loop of that last corner chain space, and then that's it. That's that round there, like so. Then we're going to do 1 chain, which in some patterns is called a turning chain, because I'm going to turn my work round so that I've got the wrong side facing me, and then I'm going to work all into the back of these, but we're going to go through both loops now, and I'm going to double crochet into each previous stitch through both loops this time, like so. Okay, so we're going to go all the way along into these stitches here. I'm going to do double crochet into every stitch in the previous round. So I'll take you down into the corner. So this is where we did our 3 double crochets into the corner. So that's 1, 2 and 3. So we want to do a double crochet in the first of the double crochets that we did, and then to go around the corner again we're going to do 3 into the middle of that 3 set of double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and that takes us around the corner again. So you can quite clearly see, as before the first round it was quite difficult to see where the chain was, but here you could clearly see your next 2 double crochets that are in your corner. So that's 1 and 2 that are in your corner, and then you just go all the way back down into every single stitch, double crocheting all the way along like so. And then I'm going to tell you what we're going to do for the next bit. Well, this bit I think is quite easy. It's very easy, very basic double crochet going backwards and forwards like so. And then don't forget to do your last one in there, and then you're going to do 1 chain, and you're going to turn your work round again, and then you're going to start all over again, but this time on the right side we're going to go through both loops. So all the rest of your rows, of your double crochet rows going down 2 sides, is all going to be in both loops like so. Okay, I'll put it this way round. Okay, so you see we worked into the back loop of this first round, which has given us a nice little frame, leaving this them, because we didn't go through them stitches, left a nice little frame where our square was. Okay, so you're going to do 4 rows of this colour, and then you're going to do another 2 rows of this colour, whatever colour you have. Well, I did 2 rows of this colour, then I did 2 more rows of this colour, and then 3 more rows of this colour. So in total that's a number of, so it's a total of 11 rows that you do, whichever order of colours you do them in, or you did it all in the same colour, that's up to you, but that's how I've done it. That's how I've done mine. So if you go off and you just do repeat these 2 rows, but when you join your new colour, so I'm going to do 2, I'll do 2 more rows of these, and then I'll come back and show you how to join the next colour in, I think. Okay, so I thought I'd just come back because I've worked my 4 rows now, just to show you how to finish off this end bit here. Because if you just cut the wool and take it off there, that's going to unravel. So you need to make sure that when you finish it off, you do 1 more extra little chain at the end there to help secure it. So I'm going to cut that off there, put it, and then you pull it tight, and then that extra little chain then keeps that secure, and it will stop it from unraveling. Okay, so we're now, this is our wrong side. So I'm going to quickly sew this end in so it's not flapping about and in the way, like so. And I was naughty and didn't crochet over my tail, so now I've got to sew it in. Like so. And cut them bits off. Okay, and this is our right side again. Now it's going to curl and go squiffy because you're doing a different type of stitch, but don't worry, it'll all sort itself out. So my next colour is this one here. So to join the next colour in, always start at this end and make sure that your work is the right way round. So you can see that your work's the right way round because you've got this like little nice line of stitches that go there, and on the back you haven't. See, it's all flush, it's all joined, all flush on the back. So that's your wrong side of your work, and this is the right side of your work. So you want to have your work on the right side. You want to find the first stitch, which is here, this first stitch here. Put your hook in both loops, like so, and then you just join your next colour in with a slip stitch, like so, holding onto your tail. Do one chain, which isn't a stitch, then you go back into the same stitch and over your tail, which I forgot to do last time, and double treble, like so. Holding your tail, you just do exactly the same with your next colour, going in every single stitch again with your next colour, like so. And I'll just work my way up to the corner and show you the corner again. So this is very repetitive. You're just doing the same thing, increasing 3 stitches in the corner at each round. I don't know why, but this wool seems a tiny bit thicker than the other wool I'm using, so it's sort of giving it a weird more chunky feel, but it'll be alright. It adds character to the blanket. It'll be fine. Okay, so we're nearly up to the corner. So you know you're coming up to the corner with the 3 chain space. I mean with the 3 double crochet. So you did, this is the 3 double crochets I did in this corner here. This is the first one, so you just do a normal double crochet in that one. Then you do 3 in this one, in the same space. 1, 2, 3. And that takes you around the corner, and then you just carry on double crocheting all the way on that side. So you're going to double crochet all the way to there, to the end, and then you're going to do 1 turning chain, then you're going to come all the way back again and finish off this colour. So I did 4 rows of this colour, I'm doing 2 rows of this. So if I show you on my previous one, so I did 4 rows there, 2 rows of that colour, 2 rows of this colour, and then I finished off with 3 rows of the last colour. And that is the first square. So I'm going to make 20 of these squares, I've decided, and then I'm going to sew them together like this. So I'm going to make 20 all together. I'm going to sew them one like that, and then I'm going to do another 2 upside down, so all my granny squares will be in the middle and the double crocheting will be on the outside, so it will sort of like form a frame around these granny squares. So I'm going to make 20 of them, so I'm going to have 4 in one corner, 4 in the other corner, 4 in the middle, and 4 in the bottom left hand and the bottom right hand. So that's how I've started the blanket. That's how far that's where I've got as far in my design in my head. I haven't even written it out really, I'm just sort of doing it from the top of my head. And there we have it, that'll be the start. So that's our first square. I'm going to go off and make my 20 squares, and I'm not going to show you how to join them together as yet, because there's a certain technique that I use when I join strips of squares together, so I'd like to show you that in a separate video. So there, that's square number 1 of the mystery blanket that even I don't know what it's going to be. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was easy to follow. If not, put some comments down below if I can make it any more easier or simpler. I do like to over explain everything, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Please join me next Sunday. I'm going to be posting a square every Sunday, so please come back and join me making the next square. which I'm still not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to go and have a little think over the week and do some little designs and see which ones I like best, and also that are easy for you to follow because this is a beginner crochet tutorial, so I'll try and make it quite easy. Thank you so much for watching. Join me next week. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share with all your friends who would like to learn to crochet. Okay, love you all. See you next time. Bye.